A theory began almost immediately when the cozy-looking Pokemon meets Animal Crossing game Pokopia was announced. That the main character was a Ditto whose trainer had passed away, and as a way of coping, it transformed into them. The rumors initially began because of a single shot from the original trailer, which showed the Kanto Pokedex, which looked like it hadn't been moved in many years, showing a photo of the trainer and Ditto on its half-broken screen. And while the idea of a post-apocalyptic Pokemon game wasn't out of the question, for me at least, I assumed it was going to be a singular lore nugget at the beginning of the game and would never be mentioned again.
The place was once home to many humans. But now it's, well, what you see.
Okay, so I was really wrong. The truth is, Pokopia is a game about loss, grieving, healing, and building a new normal. Grief is a very personal process. If you're a similar age to myself, a millennial who was just a kid when Pokemon first came out in the States, you're approaching an age where funerals become a much more commonplace event to attend. There are so many different types of losses that you can go through, such as grieving the loss of an opportunity that you had your heart set on, or losing a future you thought you were going to have, or even just having to move somewhere else for reasons out of your control. Loss of any kind is difficult to deal with. When it affects your everyday life, it can be impossible to run away from. You can't simply continue living life how it was. Your daily interactions, or perhaps lack thereof, can be a painful reminder of the emptiness from what once was. Despite this, there's no other choice. You must move forward. And it's not just people who grieve. Pets do as well. When pets lose their owner, either from a rehoming or by death, it really does not matter. The pet cannot know the difference after all. They have a similar symptom to humans, such as a lack of appetite, unmotivated, changing some of their usual habits. It can even affect their personality. Perhaps most tragically, they will continue to seek out their lost human, sleeping in places that smell like them or becoming attached to meaningful objects. Ditto unfortunately does not have the ability to use some of these methods to cope. But there is one thing it still has, and perhaps something incredibly valuable specifically to the species of Ditto: their owner's appearance. This little Ditto is not the only one who's dealing with grief in this game. I met with a few unique Pokemon in the trailer. One who gets the most spotlight is Professor Tangrowth. It's uncertain how time pass affects Pokemon and Pokeballs, so it's a little unclear if Ditto was aware of what was going on around it, but Tangrowth seems to have been keeping watch over the land for a very long time, and also experienced what the area was like when there were still humans and Pokemon living together. Perhaps the only Pokemon capable of surviving the harsh landscape that it's become, Tangrowth is so eager to share with someone his dreams of rebuilding the area to its former glory. Speaking of where, let's talk about where we think Pokopia actually takes place. Some detectives in the comment section of the official trailer mentioned that the location of Pokopia might be Fuchsia City. Not only does the music from the town play at one part of the trailer, but also the stone walkways we see in the trailer are the same ones that appear in Pokemon Let's Go, both in the final version of the game and the concept art that you see here. The layout doesn't 100% match, but considering the state of the city and how long it seems to have been in ruins, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if the geological features of the area changed slightly. While there is another theory that it might be Cinnabar Island, Fuchsia would most fit Tangrowth's description, a place where many humans and Pokemon once lived. Fuchsia City, of course, being home to the Safari Zone, and the only place where you can find a wild Tangela, Tangrowth's previous evolution in Pokemon Yellow. Seeing Professor Tangrowth's enthusiasm for the future is really sweet to witness, and I hope he has a big role in the story, if only to allow us to keep him more company. There are a few other Pokemon that appear at the end of the trailer who are unique in the same way Professor Tangrowth is. That is, their physical appearances have been altered through their life experiences. I tried looking at the site for more details on them, but, well, they're pretty vague. The one thing that cracked me up the most was Smeargle, though, who looks like he's been living up his artistic introvert lifestyle. He quite literally looks like he's lost in the sauce. Perhaps he too is separated from his trainer somewhere along the way. We very often can try to drown out our grief with hobbies. I hope for him that his painting obsession is a healthy one, and perhaps he'll be lured to our new little town in hopes of finally getting to share his creations with other Pokemon. There's also a Snorlax who is almost entirely consumed by nature and overgrowth from sleeping so long. Wouldn't be out of the question to say Snorlax was just doing, well, Snorlax things, but it is possible that it's a survival tactic that's never been seen before. Snorlaxes are also known for eating, and perhaps after what disaster destroyed Fuchsia City and the surrounding area, Snorlax decided to simply go into a slumber, a super deep hibernation, using as little energy as possible, hoping to wake up when things were more prosperous again. And yes, I did save the best for last. Let's talk about Peakychu. She first appears as nothing but a faint light in the fog, being the source of a flickering light of the nearby area. We find her sleeping all by her lonesome in a field of flowers. Like the other Pokemon we've met, she looks distinctly different than the others. Perhaps more than anyone else, she simply doesn't come off as just another wild Pokemon either. In fact, the music playing behind her in the trailer is Professor Oak's lab theme. Listen closely. And when she lays eyes on Ditto, she's so happy she looks as though she's about to cry. Is it possible this Peakychu is another member of Ditto's trainer's team? Or perhaps she mistakes you for her own trainer. Either way, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility that this Pikachu as well gains a new typing, you might say, in its efforts to wait for its trainer's return. Whatever Pikachu's fate is, I hope we can assist her in finding the closure that she needs and deserves. I'm also deeply curious if any actual humans will make an appearance. Professor Tangrowth has a wish for Pokemon and humans to live together peacefully once more. I don't think any Pokemon so far knows the fate of humans, but I think the more important takeaway from this line is that Professor Tangrowth and the other Pokemon now have something in common that they may not have had before. Some hope for the future. Hope to build a new life with some other Pokemon, and perhaps see the return of humans, and with it, a sense of normalcy once again. Who knows? What if their trainers, or at least their descendants, are still out there looking for them? You never know. And if you are also dealing with grief of any kind, please take care of yourself, and allow yourself time to adjust. There's no rush in building a new normal, but also don't let yourself get lost in limbo for too long.